Hi guys, so today we're going to be taking another look at these super cheap $10 diamond stones from Amazon. Now I've tested these things in the past. I wanted to do an update video because I got another set to see if anything has changed. So right out of the box, these are coarse, with the red coarse grit being super coarse, more on this in a second, and the fine being slightly less coarse. And right off the bat, the fine is full of just about every grit you can think of, with not a whole lot of plating. Again, more on this in a second. They also came bent, all of them. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know this is actually my second review of these things, and the other ones were bent too. Now, I did do my initial break-in sharpening with these, since every diamond stone needs a handful of sharpenings to break in and remove the loosely adhered diamonds, and while doing this, I did end up straightening these things out. I mean, I guess I could... Let's move on. Now you may say that this isn't a fair review at this point, since it was clearly your fault that the fine broke trying to straighten it, and that's true. But also, during this break-in, I realized that these were in fact super special stones, and the fact that these broke doesn't even matter, because these stones have magical powers. After using these stones about 4 times, you can see almost all of the diamond has disappeared off of the fine stone. It's weird because I kept wondering why I had to keep vacuuming off the surface of these stones every 3 seconds. Now, aside from the fact that you can't use these without clamping them down due to the slickness of the plastic bases, it's not all bad. So I've officially broken these things in at this point. They're about in the state that I would say that they're going to be in for the rest of their lives. The fine is pretty much worthless. All the diamond came off after about 3 sharpenings. The other 2 are extremely coarse still. The medium is medium extremely coarse, and the coarse is a coarse really coarse. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to try and sharpen a knife to as sharp as we can possibly get it, using the stones in the state they are in now. We're apexed. I mean, the coarse grit here, it does a really good job of profiling. It's that coarse. I like that about this stone. I like coarse grit stones for profiling. I want to remove material as quickly as possible, get this thing apexed, and move on. And this actually does a pretty good job at that. It is not very pleasant to use. It has a giant hump in it, which we know now we can't straighten. And yeah, it's just, it's wavy on the surface. It's just not a very pleasant stone to use, other than the fact that it is very coarse, and I do like that. And this is our scratch pattern, and oh my goodness, it is coarse. Again, it's a profiling stone. I like that about this. Coarse, apex, quick, move on. All right, let's try the blue. See, the thing is I don't really know when I'm done here, like when to move on, because the scratch pattern to my naked eye looks exactly the same. So I don't know when I'm done. Our medium scratch pattern here is kind of crazy because on one hand it still looks kind of the same as it did before, but on the other hand it almost kind of does look like we have some refinement. But I also started to notice something during this sharpening, the one that you're seeing right now. This stone is apparently magical too, because on the high spots of the stone, all of the diamonds have disappeared over the span of a single sharpening. And you can actually see some of these loose diamonds embedded into our burr in some locations. Now let's move on to the fine. Even though there were a bunch of bare spots on this stone, I did focus on the spots that still had some diamond left, and I was able to get some refinement. We're going to go through our deburring steps on this stone, alternating passes, slightly reducing pressure as we go. Because I have no idea whether or not we are as refined as we can be on this stone. I just can't tell by looking at it with my calibrated eyeball whether or not we've fully remove the previous grit scratches. Now keep in mind, this is literally the best case scenario. We have A2 tool steel at 64 HRC. This stuff deburrs easier than almost any other steel that I've ever used. It has the absolute best possibility of becoming as sharp as it possibly could be. It's a high quality steel with a high quality heat treatment, and it gets absolutely crazy sharp even in the worst case scenarios. So this is the best case scenario for these stones. I know the knife doesn't look like much, but trust me, the steel is a higher quality steel.
So it does look like we had some refinement here, but this is a very coarse edge. I mean, this is extremely coarse.
So here's the thing, I don't really know what's fair for stropping. What I want to do in order to get the best edge possible is to go through an entire strop progression of like 4 or 5 strops, but I don't really think that that's fair, testing $10 stones with like $200 worth of strops. So maybe we'll just do one green chromium oxide and see the type of edge we get. I think that'll be a pretty fair comparison. These are $10 stones. That's like maybe a $10 strop. So it's the cheapest of the possibly cheapest stuff that you could sharpen on. I mean, it certainly feels sharp. It's hair-popping sharp.
And here is that edge. Now, this is not a pretty edge. I can't even tell you how coarse this is. Yes, it's sharp, but it is not pretty to get there. It is not fun to get there. It is like sharpening on sand that somebody sprinkled on a table. Not fun, very inefficient, and to tell you the truth, not a super great edge. The steel saved us here, not the sharpening stones.
So with all the problems that we just ran into with these stones, for $10, they're absolutely positively not worth it. A much better option is a stone like this SSATC stone, which you can pick up for around $20. For $10 more, save your money and buy this stone. This is so much better in just about every way. Not only do you not need to double stick tape it to anything, you can sharpen right on the corner of a workbench like so, but it's also perfectly flat. And the grit hasn't fallen off after 3 uses. This stone has been used extensively over the past 6 months or so. I have 2 of them because they're such a good deal, and I use the stone probably more than any other stone. It leaves really good coarse grit edges. I mean, that is a much nicer edge. Way better. I will leave a link to a full review on this stone down below. I would recommend this all day, every day over this pile of crap. Anyway, I hope this video was insightful. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.